The arrival of the anointed ones is to be greeted with appropriate solemnity. Those who are haughty often succumb to misfortune with particularly acute consequences when they are not anticipating it. Envision a luminescence so intense that it unveils every concealed imperfection and every concealed motivation, exposing those who believe themselves to be invulnerable. It is important to acknowledge that throughout history, prominent figures, rulers, and schemers who have engaged in unethical practices have seldom evaded public censure when divine retribution has been executed. The carefully constructed empires, reputations, and facades of these individuals have not merely disintegrated, they have been completely and visibly dismantled. However, a notable exception emerges in those who have deliberately placed traps for others. It has been observed that those who have committed misdeeds often find themselves the subject of divine retribution. This phenomenon can be likened to the preparation of a surprise birthday celebration, which is subsequently overshadowed by the realization that it is intended for the individual in question. The present discourse pertains to a distinct form of surprise, orchestrated by the Almighty, which culminates in a resounding display of retribution for those who have defied His chosen. It is imperative to acknowledge that when the Lord is about to subject one's adversaries to public disgrace, the event transcends mere spectacle, marking a justice that even the laws of karma seem to take note. The primary element of this retributive justice is the silent strike of divine timing. The timing of the Lord is characterized by its unobtrusive nature. Precisely as if a metronomic clock were ticking in the background, audible only to Him. Enemies often misconstrue this silence as inaction, assuming their stratagems have escaped notice or, more ominously, have been endorsed. However, this reticence is not an accident. It is, in fact, a meticulously orchestrated event by a higher power, a revelation far more profound than those who stand in opposition could have anticipated. While they pursue their daily activities under the illusion of invincibility, their self-assurance obscures their perception of reality. Each of their actions is meticulously catalogued, down to the minutest detail. They delude themselves into believing they are exempt from consequences, accruing offenses and behaviors are exhibited, accompanied by a sense of invincibility and an unassailable power structure. However, divine timing operates independently of human temporal perceptions, transcending any linear conception of justice. The divine's intervention is patient, allowing transgressors to delude themselves into a false sense of security. When the opportune moment arrives, the divine act is executed with immediate and irrevocable consequences. There is no gradual deterioration, it is a swift and indisputable shift that leaves no opportunity for repentance or the fabrication of innocence. The truth of their actions is abruptly revealed, and their true nature is exposed to all. The subjects stand exposed, with no possibility to refute the actions that have been carried out. The silence that was once perceived as secure evolves into a substantial burden, serving as a reminder that their calculations were inaccurate on a grand scale. They assumed they could circumvent divine justice. However, God was merely allowing the passage of time until every detail was established. The irony is that they were preoccupied with celebrating their triumph, failing to perceive the encirclement of their position. During that period of silence, God guaranteed the ultimate consequences, delivering a justice that is more impactful, leaves no possibility for evasion, and renders the subjects of this study stand exposed, with no possibility of denying the actions that have been carried out. The silence that was once perceived as safe is now a source of immense pressure, serving as a reminder that their calculations regarding divine justice were erroneous. They believed they could outmaneuver divine justice, but God was simply allowing the clock to tick until every detail was set. The irony is that they were too preoccupied with celebrating their victory to notice the trap closing around them. In that quiet timing, God ensured the ultimate impact, delivering a justice that is more impactful, leaves no room for escape, and makes. Second, their darkness will be their undoing. The darkness inside one's enemies is not just a hidden part of who they are, it is their downfall in the making. They believe their schemes, lies, and manipulation will stay in the shadows, away from anyone's view. However, here is the truth: when God acts, He does not just bring justice. He transforms that very darkness into the source of their exposure. It is as if the weight of every selfish act, every betrayal, and every attempt to undermine you becomes fuel for their own collapse. They operate in secrecy, believing themselves to be untouchable and capable of manipulating people and outcomes without consequence. However, as they engage in the secret construction of a reserve of resentment and envy, they remain unaware that each addition to this reserve will be returned to them in ways they never anticipated. God is not required to impose an external form of retribution. Their own actions are the seeds of their own downfall. The hidden darkness is brought into the light, and it is harsh and undeniable. When this exposure occurs, it is not the characters in question are susceptible to exposure, as their actions and demeanor are perceived by their peers and associates. The facade they have constructed to manipulate others is dismantled, unveiling their true motives. The narrative they have sought to control is no longer within their grasp, and the very essence of their actions becomes the basis for their identification. The perceived authority they held is rendered null as their actions are exposed, leaving them in a state of desperation to rationalize or justify their actions, which cannot be refuted. Ultimately, their downfall does not merely represent a form of retribution but a self-inflicted. The subjects of this study fell into a trap, which resulted in their own undoing. God's justice is precise, and the subjects' own deeds became the basis for that justice. As the truth became apparent to all, the subjects were left with nothing but the stark reality they had created. Third, the subjects' power would collapse in public view. True humiliation does not happen in private, it happens in plain sight, with nowhere to hide. When God brings the third consequence of their actions is the collapse of their power in public view. It is important to note that true humiliation occurs in plain sight, with nowhere to hide, when God brings justice. This is in contrast to the clandestine, whispered secrets and closed doors that are characteristic of human interactions. The people who hurt you, who try to discredit or control you, have often built entire lives on a facade, carefully curating their image so that others see them as powerful, trustworthy, or even admirable. However, when God steps in, that image doesn't just crack, it shatters completely. The concept of justice is not confined to clandestine negotiations or private deliberations, rather, it is manifest in the public sphere, where all individuals are subject to scrutiny. Those who have inflicted harm, attempted to discredit, or sought to exert control over others have frequently constructed entire lives based on a carefully crafted facade, seeking to project images of power, trustworthiness, or even admiration. However, when divine intervention intervenes, this facade is not merely compromised, it is utterly shattered, unveiling the truth for all to witness. For those who have relied on their reputation as a shield, such exposure can be a profoundly disorienting experience. They have invested significant time and effort in cultivating an image of themselves that is either admired or feared by others. They may have believed themselves invincible, convinced that they had deceived everyone. Yet, when their actions are laid bare for public scrutiny, the facade inevitably crumbles. In the context of public scrutiny, the carefully constructed facade that individuals project is exposed, revealing their true self to the public. This process strips away the metaphorical safety net of public opinion, which was previously used to shield their reputations from criticism. The individuals who once sought to impress or control others through this network are now vulnerable to close examination, leaving no room for evasion or justification. Their once substantial power is suddenly diminished, as the illusion of their public image crumbles. The carefully constructed image is exposed as an illusion, and the subjects are stripped of the safety net of public opinion. The subjects' former attempts to impress or control others are rendered futile as their flaws and betrayals are exposed. There is no longer any room for excuses, and no story can be hidden behind. The subject's previously robust power is suddenly as fragile as glass. This kind of public reckoning is distinct from others in that it is not merely about proving one's point. It is about bringing the truth into full view, allowing friends, family, and colleagues to witness exactly who the subjects are. In this exposure, God is not merely holding the subjects accountable, he is sending a message that no mask, no lie, and no illusion can hold up forever. The value placed on reputation is shown to be illusory, as it becomes the very thing that crumbles in front of the world. Fourthly, the stillness exhibited was not a sign of weakness, but rather a strategic maneuver. While opponents exploited the silence, assuming it to be a sign of vulnerability, they overlooked the fact that the stillness was a trap they had not anticipated. The fourth element to consider is the value placed on reputation, which ultimately proved to be detrimental. The act of remaining silent and patient was not a sign of weakness, rather, it was a strategic move that caught opponents off guard. Enemies misinterpreted this silence as a sign of weakness, assuming they could continue their actions without consequence. However, this assumption was inaccurate. The silence was intentional, serving as a space for opponents to reveal their true intentions without interference. As they persisted in their actions, they encountered greater resistance from the subject. The subject's actions and assumptions were misguided. They interpreted the subject's silence as acquiescence, leading them to persist in their attempts to manipulate and undermine the subjects. However, the subject's quietude was not an indication of their acquiescence. In fact, the subject's quietude was a deliberate strategy, a space that allowed them to expose the subject's true intentions without interference. As the subjects continued to push, they became bolder, more confident, and more convinced of their own invincibility. They misinterpreted the subject's patience as permission, completely unaware that the subjects were observing them and waiting for the opportune moment to expose the subject's actions. This is an example of how God works in the world. The calmness of the victim can become the very thing that exposes the attacker. As the subjects continued to act, their motives became more and more obvious. The subject's actions and behaviors indicated a marked increase in boldness, leading them to the conviction that they were invincible. They interpreted the recipient's patience as a sign of consent, disregarding the fact that the recipient was observing and documenting their actions. This phenomenon, wherein a calm demeanor can serve to expose those who are against one, is a manifestation of a divine intervention. As the subjects continued to act, their motives became increasingly evident, culminating in the creation of a compelling case against themselves. This case, in essence, rendered any defense from the recipient unnecessary. The recipient's restraint, perceived by the subjects as a trap, was inadvertently stepped into by the subjects without any prior awareness. When the time arrived for the truth to come to light, its veracity was indisputable. The subject's actions and the image they had created were irreversible, and they could not undo the damage they had caused. The recipient's silence, which had initially been perceived as a weakness, became a source of strength, illuminating the situation for all to witness. Their actions, in turn, become the focal point, overshadowing any potential narrative they might have crafted. In essence, the act of patience, rather than immediate reaction, ultimately yielded favorable outcomes. The truth, when allowed to manifest, is indisputable. The actions of the aforementioned parties provide a clear indication of their true motivations, thus contradicting their initial claims of being deceived. Their attempts to manipulate the narrative ultimately backfired, as their actions spoke louder than their words. The truth of the matter was evident, and their actions served only to further expose their true intentions. The individuals in question attempted to use the situation to their advantage, but ultimately, their actions only served to further their own undoing. The fifth point to consider is the transformation of their manipulation into a megaphone. When confronted with opposition, it is common for individuals to attempt to portray themselves as the villain in the narrative, but they often neglect to consider that the truth remains unchanged, regardless of their desires. The aforementioned parties were under the impression that they were taking advantage of the situation. However, in reality, they were simply falling deeper into the trap that had been set for them by your silence. The fifth point is that he is transforming their manipulation into a megaphone. When individuals attempt to make you the villain in their narrative, they often neglect to consider that the truth does not change simply because they wish it to. They may twist facts, tell lies, and attempt to portray you in a negative light. However, regardless of how much they promote their narrative, reality has a way of surfacing. The nature of lies is that they require constant maintenance. A single slip-up or forgotten detail is sufficient to cause the entire narrative to unravel. God is aware of all of this from the beginning, and when the time is right, He allows there those who disseminate falsehoods and fabricate narratives may attempt to portray the disseminator in a negative light, but the veracity of the disseminator's account will ultimately prevail. The fundamental problem with falsehoods is that they require constant maintenance. A minor inaccuracy or oversight can lead to the rapid unraveling of the entire narrative. The creator of the falsehood is aware of this fact from the very beginning, and when the opportune moment arrives, he or she allows the fabrications to collapse under their own weight. There is no need for the disseminator to defend or substantiate their account, as the truth is inherently robust and does not bend or shift based on who is observing it. The false accusations and distorted narratives that have been created by the disseminator begin to crumble when confronted with reality, resulting in the complete collapse of the narrative. The veracity of a narrative is subject to scrutiny, and discrepancies become evident as the fabric of the story begins to unravel. The discrepancies in accounts of individuals, particularly those that are disparaging, become apparent to observers. Those who previously accepted the narrative begin to question its validity, and the truth begins to manifest independently, negating the need for further defense or explanation. This phenomenon can be described as the truth being self-evident. It requires no external validation to substantiate itself. The revelation of truth is akin to the gradual erosion of a sandcastle built on falsehoods, which is ultimately washed away by the tide of truth. In that moment of revelation, the fabric of lies is exposed, and no version of events can be hidden. The reality that was so meticulously concealed is now visible to all, proving that no matter how much one attempts to bury it, the truth will ultimately emerge. The veracity that emerges is akin to the revelation of a hidden fortress, a structure that has been meticulously constructed on shaky foundations. The effort to manipulate the truth is exposed, and the reality is revealed to be as unyielding as the sandcastle that was built on deceit. The truth prevails, regardless of the extent to which it was distorted. The sixth aspect of this phenomenon is a celebration that transcends mere rewards. The celebration orchestrated by God is unlike anything that has been witnessed before. It is not merely about the retrieval of something or the validation of a point. It is about a profound personal blessing, intricately designed to be perfectly suited to one's individual journey. When God bestows rewards, they are beyond anything that can be imagined. The sixth celebration is characterized by its ability to transcend the confines of mere rewards, representing a profound and personal blessing that is meticulously crafted to align with one's unique journey. These rewards often surpass the expectations of individuals, fulfilling needs and aspirations that may have been set aside or forgotten. The experience of receiving these rewards can be a moment of profound realization, a reversal so complete that it almost seems surreal. The purpose of these blessings is not merely to triumph over adversaries or to achieve a public display of success. The impact of these blessings is profound, encompassing healing, renewal, and empowerment, often in ways that are not immediately apparent. It is not difficult to imagine that these blessings are meticulously crafted to address one's specific needs and aspirations, which may have been set aside or even forgotten. This phenomenon can be likened to a complete reversal, so profound that it almost defies rational explanation. The blessings that ensue are not merely a public display or a mere victory over adversaries. They are profoundly healing, rejuvenating, and empowering in ways that one might not have previously recognized. It serves as a quiet yet indisputable reminder that every struggle, every setback, and every ounce of patience was imbued with a distinct purpose. The most remarkable aspect of these rewards is the imprint of God's unique presence that is palpable in every detail, as if they were meticulously handpicked just for the individual recipient. There is a profound sense of satisfaction in knowing that no one else could have orchestrated it in this manner. The timing, the form, and the manner in which these blessings manifest are all meticulously designed to cater to the individual's unique needs and circumstances. The journey of receiving divine retribution is not merely a matter of compensation. It is a profound celebration that affirms one's inherent value, nourishes the spirit, and restores what was lost in ways that surpass human expectations. When this occurrence takes place, a profound, silent joy is experienced, independent of any external validation, because it is a testament to something greater. The narrative evolves into a pedagogical tool, imparting lessons to the audience. When divine justice is executed, it signifies more than just an individual's triumph. It becomes a profound lesson that resonates beyond the immediate context. Those who remained silent, who stood by or subtly supported those seeking to discredit the individual, are no longer passive observers. They are confronted with irrefutable evidence that every action carries consequences, even the act of ignoring the situation. The narrative becomes a living testament to the consequences of inaction. The retelling of one's personal narrative serves as a cautionary tale, transcending the scope of a mere personal victory. It becomes a catalyst for profound change, instilling a sense of justice and retribution in the minds of those who observe. The act of recounting one's experiences can be a catalyst for change, serving as a poignant reminder of the consequences of manipulation, betrayal, and undermining behavior. This transformation is not merely a quest for personal retribution. It is a revelation that challenges the very concept of divine justice, making it tangible and precise. The narrative serves as a testament to the power that lies in the individual, dispelling any notion of power being held by external entities. It becomes a catalyst for introspection, highlighting the implications of every choice, every silent approval, and every act of complicity. This transformation is not merely limited to those who have directly wronged an individual. It serves as a wake-up call, prompting introspection and change within the larger community. A call is hereby issued to all individuals who may have entertained the notion of evading accountability for similar actions, or who may have provided support to others in pursuit of such evasion. In this manner, one's narrative evolves into a new paradigm, serving as a cautionary tale that resonates beyond one's immediate social circle. Individuals are compelled to reevaluate their actions and the alliances they forge. This justice transcends the realm of personal triumph, metamorphosing into a public edict, a manifestation of divine retribution that leaves an indelible impression. And as one's life progresses, and one's identity transcends the mere narrative of overcoming adversity. Instead, one becomes a catalyst for truth and justice, a testament to the fact that no transgression goes unnoticed and no injustice remains unaddressed. The eighth principle is the exposure of their own innermost sentiments. God employs a unique method of delivering justice that not only addresses the actions of one's adversaries but also unveils their true nature. This process is not a singular occurrence. Size fits life progresses, and the individual in question is no longer merely someone who overcame a struggle. Rather, they are someone whose narrative serves to rectify the record, demonstrating that no wrongdoing goes unseen and no injustice goes unaddressed. The eighth element is exposure, which mirrors their own heart. God has a remarkable way of delivering justice that addresses not only the actions of one's enemies but also the true nature of their hearts. This is not a one-size-fits-all punishment. Rather, it is a precise and personal reckoning that reflects their intentions back at them. When their schemes unravel, it is as if the universe is holding up a mirror, revealing exactly who they are and what they've done. As their plans collapse, the details of their malicious intentions become clear for everyone to see. This exposure does not merely show their actions but also lays bare the motivations that drove them. Were they filled with jealousy? Did their actions stem from a desire for spite or control? God's justice unveils their inner darkness, offering no room for excuses or justifications. In that moment, the truth becomes indisputable, and their carefully crafted facades fall away. Witnessing this reflection offers more than mere punishment. It provides a moment of clarity for all involved. Friends, family, and onlookers who may have been uncertain about the events now have a front. The consequences of betrayal and malice become evident, and the audience gains a front-row seat to this revelation. This experience is both chilling and enlightening, as it highlights the depths of deceit and cruelty that can exist within an individual. This kind of divine exposure serves as a powerful reminder that our actions reflect our true selves. God's justice isn't just an abstract concept. It's a tangible reality that can be observed and understood. The consequences of betrayal and malice are evident, and the experience is both alarming and enlightening. It is a poignant reminder that our actions reflect our true selves. God's justice is not merely an abstract concept, it is a tangible reality that can be perceived, comprehended, and experienced. This revelation leads to a profound realization for one's enemies. They are held accountable for their actions and their true selves are exposed to the world. Ninth, the power shift is inevitable when God intervenes. It is not just a momentary occurrence, it is a transformative experience. The power shift is not merely a momentary reckoning for one's enemies, it is a seismic shift in the entire power dynamic. Those who have previously exhibited an inflated sense of control, under the impression that their manipulations and schemes secured them a permanent place at the top, may find themselves abruptly confronted with a fundamental reordering of relationships. The very ground they stood on starts to shift and divine intervention occurs, shattering the illusion of their invincibility and untouchability. Their sense of invincibility and the stability of their position are abruptly dismantled. This shift in power dynamics has far-reaching consequences, profoundly altering the landscape of influence. This transformation is not merely a change in circumstances, it is a fundamental reordering of relationships. Those who previously felt invincible and untouchable now find themselves in a precarious position, grappling with the realization that their perceived power is no longer a reliable source of stability. They are forced to confront the reality that their previously unassailable position has been effectively dismantled. Their perception of a robust hold on power is revealed as a fallacy, easily dispelled by a superior authority. In that moment, the collective awareness of those in their sphere is shifted, and it becomes apparent that they are no longer in control of the narrative. The reality of the situation is that their dominance has been dismantled. Their former grip on power is revealed to be illusory, easily dispelled by a higher authority. In that moment, the truth is perceived by all around them, the tables have turned, and it is evident that they can no longer control the narrative or the outcomes of their actions. This shift has profound implications for one's enemies. They are no longer the architects of one's struggles, they have become the architects of their own downfall. The power dynamic does not merely flip, it flips in a way that leaves a lasting mark. Those who attempted to manipulate, intimidate, or belittle one are now rendered powerless. Consequently, they are compelled to confront the repercussions of their actions, the landscape has undergone an irreversible transformation, and they are left to deal with the aftermath as you ascend into the newly vacated space. Notably, this transformation is not merely a transient shift, but rather, it instigates a new order, wherein their former influence is supplanted. The subjects of this study find themselves compelled to confront the repercussions of their decisions, leading to a profound and irreversible transformation of the environment. Concurrently, they observe the dismantling of the former order and the emergence of a new one, characterized by their own strength and resilience. This divine restructuring, witnessed by the world, serves as a potent reminder that the hand of God in matters of justice is unrelenting. The subject's former influence dissipates, and in its stead, there is an unassailable acknowledgement of their rightful place in the narrative. Observing the cracks that emerge under pressure and the downfall of one's adversaries is not merely a fleeting spectacle, it is a gradual process that unfolds over time. The world observes the restructuring of their image, recognizing their strength and resilience. This serves as a powerful reminder that no one can escape the hand of God when it comes to justice. The power they once wielded is gone, and in its place is an undeniable acknowledgement of one's rightful place in the story. Witnessing one's enemies crumble under pressure is not just a quick spectacle, it is more like a slow-motion train wreck that everyone gets to see. God does not just pull the rug out from under them in one swift move. Instead, He orchestrates a gradual unveiling that leaves them scrambling to maintain their facade while their foundation crumbles beneath them. It is akin to watching someone try to hold up a. Witnessing the collapse of one's adversaries is not a fleeting spectacle, rather, it is akin to a protracted, deliberate unfolding of events. The process is not a sudden or abrupt one, rather, it is a gradual unveiling that leaves the adversaries grappling with the dissolution of their facade while their underlying foundations disintegrate. This phenomenon can be likened to observing an individual attempting to maintain the structural integrity of a building composed of toothpicks and marshmallows. Despite their efforts to maintain its stability, it is inevitable that the structure will eventually succumb to the forces that are attempting to bring it down. As the carefully constructed facade begins to crack, the resulting spectacle is both tragic and somewhat comical. The adversaries are visibly perspiring. The structure, composed of toothpicks and marshmallows, is initially stable. However, its fragility is evident, and its eventual collapse is inevitable. As the facade of their carefully crafted image begins to crumble, a sense of both tragedy and humor emerges. The protagonists endeavor to maintain a brave facade, attempting to conceal the internal panic that rages within. This scene possesses the potential to evoke the atmosphere of a sitcom. Friends and foes alike congregate to observe this gradual disintegration, and the spectacle is remarkable. Audience members lean in, popcorn in hand, anticipating the next act of the play. The subject of this discourse is an examination of the internal conflict experienced by the protagonists in this dramatic narrative. The emotional dissonance they undergo is akin to a theatrical tragedy, wherein each misstep they take contributes to the unfolding of a more comprehensive narrative. With each attempt to maintain the facade of their illusion, more of their true selves is exposed. Their allies, who once stood firm beside them, begin to distance themselves, realizing they do not wish to be part of the downfall. As the illusory facade gradually disintegrates, the protagonists find themselves exposed, their true identities laid bare for all to witness. The humiliation they endure is not merely a transient embarrassment, it persists, offering everyone ample opportunity to observe the profound impact of their actions. By the time the facade finally crumbles, the true nature of the protagonists is widely known, and while it is regrettable to witness a fall from grace, there is a peculiar sense of satisfaction in knowing that their efforts to feign have been unsuccessful. The ostensible objective of the aforementioned individuals was to control the narrative. However, their efforts have culminated in their own discomfiture, becoming the subject of derision. This serves as a poignant reminder that veracity invariably prevails, regardless of the extent to which one attempts to conceal it. The 11th subject has transformed personal adversity into a form of public accolade. Each tribulation faced, and each attempt by opponents to discredit him, is undergoing a process of repurposing, resulting in a transformation of adversity into a source of renown. It can be posited that divine intervention plays a role in this process, ensuring that the pain experienced by the individual does not remain hidden, but rather, is transformed into a catalyst for positive change. Instead, it is transformed into the foundation of one's public honor. Each struggle becomes a stepping stone, and each setback becomes a contributing element to the grand structure of one's eventual celebration. One's journey is not merely a series of unfortunate events, it is a carefully crafted masterpiece of resilience and strength. When one rises from the ashes of pain, it is not merely about bouncing back, it is about transforming adversity into opportunity. Instead of allowing the challenges you face to diminish your sense of self-worth, you transform them into opportunities for growth and resilience. Each obstacle becomes a stepping stone on your path to triumph, contributing to the construction of a stronger and more resilient you. Your journey is not merely a series of events, but a transformation into a more powerful version of yourself. Every insult and every attempt to undermine you becomes a layer in the rich tapestry of your victory. This is not merely a comeback story, it's a profound metamorphosis. You're not the same person who endured those trials, you're a stronger, more determined version of yourself, armed with wisdom and insight that can only come from surviving the storm. As you step into your transformation into a state of heightened strength and determination. Every insult and attempt to undermine becomes a contributing factor in the eventual victory. This is not merely a narrative of triumph, it is a profound metamorphosis. The individual in question has evolved beyond the person who endured those trials, they have become a stronger, more determined version of themselves, armed with wisdom and insight that can only come from surviving the storm. As the individual steps into their well-deserved recognition, their enemies will bear witness to the very fruits of their attempts to humiliate them. The very tools that were intended to be used as weapons against them will instead become the tools of their triumph. Their enemies thought they could break the individual, but instead, they inadvertently forged them into a symbol of strength and perseverance. The individual's journey becomes an inspiration, a testament to the fact that even the darkest moments can give birth to the brightest victories. This transformation is a testament to the power of resilience and the ability to overcome significant challenges. The metamorphosis you have undergone is not merely for your own benefit, it resonates with all who have confronted their own adversities. Your narrative serves as a beacon of hope, demonstrating that adversity can be transformed into purpose, and that every struggle can ultimately result in honor. As the world observes your ascent, it is not merely your triumph that it perceives, it is the remarkable journey that has led you to this moment. This journey serves as a testament to the notion that no external force can define your identity but your own resilience. In this moment, your suffering metamorphoses into public acclaim, and every observer. The aforementioned narrative is not solely for the individual in question, it resonates with all who have confronted their own adversities. The individual's story becomes a beacon of hope, demonstrating that adversity can lead to purpose and that every struggle can culminate in honor. As the world witnesses the individual's ascent, it does not merely observe a victory, it beholds the remarkable journey that brought the individual to this moment. This journey serves as a testament to the notion that no external force can define the individual's resilience. In this particular instance, the individual's pain transforms into public honor, compelling every gaze to acknowledge the transformative power of their metamorphosis. The 12th component of the narrative is the revelation of envy among the individual's opponents. God does not merely expose the actions of the individual's enemies, he delves deeper, unveiling the underlying motives that fueled their animosity. When divine justice unfolds, it pulls back the curtain on their envy, rendering it painfully visible to all those around them. What was once a hidden resentment is now laid bare for all to see, stripping away the veil of secrecy and revealing the true nature of their envy. The transformation you have undergone has been met with envy by those who once looked down on you. However, their envy is now being exposed, and their actions and motives are being revealed. The justice of a higher power has been served, and the illusions that they maintained are being stripped away. This is not merely about showing their wrongdoings, it is about illuminating the true source of their malice, the envy that festered in their hearts. As this envy comes into the light, it becomes glaringly obvious that the root of their animosity was never really about you. Instead, it reflects their own insecurities, shortcomings, and the darkness they refuse to acknowledge within themselves. God's justice reveals that their envy, rather than being directed towards external factors such as one's success or self-worth, was, in fact, a reflection of their internalized inadequacies. This revelation serves to redirect the narrative focus from the individual to the group, thereby placing the spotlight where it rightfully belongs. The humiliation faced by the group is not merely a consequence for their actions, but rather a reflection of the underlying motivations that led to those actions. It is evident that envy can distort a person's judgment, leading to a trajectory of bitterness and hostility. Those who once stood, those who previously held positions of authority and judgment find themselves compelled to confront the realization that their shortcomings stemmed from internalized envy. This public revelation functions as a cautionary tale, serving to remind individuals of the perils of allowing envy to influence one's actions. In this sense, God's justice acts as a magnifying glass, intensifying the scrutiny on their motives until they cannot remain concealed. Associates, colleagues, and even casual observers begin to discern the fissures in their character. It becomes apparent that the revelation of their internal struggles, brought to light by the external pressures they had sought to inflict upon others, culminates in a profound shift in the tides of justice. The very enemies who sought to thwart them are now exposed, grappling with the consequences of their own envy. The narrative serves as a poignant reminder that envy, in all its ugliness, ultimately exposes more about the envier than the envied. Within the broader context of life, God's divine justice acts as a magnifying glass, intensifying the heat on their motives until they can no longer be concealed. Friends, colleagues, and even casual observers begin to perceive the fissures in their character. It becomes evident that what they projected onto you was a reflection of their internal struggles. The projection of envy onto oneself is indicative of one's internal struggles. Upon recognizing this, the tides of fortune turn in one's favor, and one's adversaries are left exposed, grappling with the consequences of their own envy. The endeavor to hinder one's progress is met with the revelation of their true nature, serving as a poignant reminder that envy, in all its ugliness, ultimately exposes more about the envier than the envied. Within the intricate tapestry of life, God's divine justice weaves together the narratives of triumph and transformation. As one's adversaries are exposed and their envy laid bare, one stands not just as a survivor, but as a testament to the power of resilience and faith. Every hardship endured becomes a badge of honor, and every moment of humiliation inflicted upon one transforms into a catalyst for ultimate victory. This narrative is not merely a story of retribution, it is a profound journey of self-discovery and self-actualization. The narrative under consideration is not merely a tale of retribution, rather, it is a profound journey of self-discovery and elevation. As the protagonist rises above the ashes of their envy, the text conveys the idea that what was meant to break them has instead made them stronger, wiser, and undeniably powerful. The celebration that ensues is not merely personal, it reverberates throughout the community, inspiring others to confront their own challenges and to rise above the darkness that may try to envelop them. In witnessing the transformation of the protagonist, they learn. The process of discovery and elevation entails the ability to overcome adversity and achieve personal growth. It is a journey that resonates with the collective experience of individuals, fostering a sense of community and shared resilience. By observing the transformation of an individual, others are encouraged to recognize the potential for personal empowerment and the attainment of public recognition through their own struggles. This realization underscores the notion that God, in its conception, has not only designed the path of an individual's victory but has also illuminated the route for others to emulate. Enemies may endeavor to tarnish one's reputation, yet their actions paradoxically serve to amplify one's radiant light. With each stride into a new reality, the envy of others serves as a catalyst for personal growth and self-actualization. Strength and a beacon for those still in the shadows, this is one's moment, a divine celebration of all that one is, and a powerful message that truth and resilience will always prevail. If one found this message resonating, one should consider subscribing to the channel for more empowering content that lifts one's spirit and fuels one's journey. The purpose of this channel is to share stories of triumph and transformation that remind us. The following message is intended to instill a sense of empowerment and resilience in those who may be encountering difficulties. It is recommended that viewers take a moment to reflect on the strength and resilience they have exhibited in their own lives. The message conveys a sense of optimism and encourages the viewer to continue on their journey with fortitude. Those who find this message resonating are encouraged to subscribe to the channel for additional content that will inspire and motivate them. The content will emphasize the importance of resilience and faith in overcoming adversity. The viewer is encouraged to share their thoughts, experiences, and reflections in the comments section. The objective is to create a community that celebrates strength, supports one another, and collectively thrives. It is also recommended that viewers share this video with their friends and family to help spread the message of hope and empowerment. The viewer's voice is important, and participation in the conversation is encouraged.